noticed, the point being, they noticed heavenly origin in Stephen. Does that make sense? And in fact, later on, Stephen, when spoiler alert, they're going to kill him, and we'll cover that next week. But as he's standing there as being stoned, whether he hit with stones, whether he ends up taking a knee because he's just giving up his ghost, or he takes a knee because he took one to the chest or the head or whatever it was, it says that he hits his knees and he looks up and he sees Jesus standing, and he cries out to him. He says, "Don't lay this sin to their feet. Don't charge them for what they're doing right now, Lord." Right? So the whole point is, like, Stephen is clearly this person who's absolutely 110% sold out for Christ, right? That he's exuding the fruit of the Spirit. He's not perfect. He's not doing everything right. We just know that because he's a human being, not because anything's written about him. But that he's just walking with God. That's all this guy is doing. You know, it's however long, we don't know how long it was between this event and the event that he's chosen, but whether it's a month or 2 months or a day, he literally is going from some guy who gets saved. Remember, people have only been getting saved for, like, it seems about a couple months at this point. So this person who's full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom, it's not like this is, Warren Wiersbe after 80 years of Bible study sitting down sharing wisdom with people. This is a guy who's been a Christian for a matter of months. And they don't have it all figured out. They don't have the Bible. They don't have the scriptures. They don't have any of that. He's just a person that has a relationship with God, is listening to the teaching of the apostles at that time, and probably referencing the Old Testament for himself. As far as we know, there's no letters that have been circulated yet. There's no 1 Corinthians. There's no Colossians. None of those. Those things don't come along. Most of those letters don't start until about 55 AD. Circulating, right? So we're at about 33, 34 AD right now. So it's going to be 20 years before you even have the letters. It's going to be another 60 years before John writes his gospel. All right? So it's going to, you have these, I guess the point is, you have just a person who doesn't have all the knowledge in the world. He doesn't have everything figured out of what it takes to be a Christian. He doesn't know his Bible verse by verse and all that. Those are all good things. He's just a person that was filled with the Holy Spirit, that decided, I'm going to walk with God, and then he gets chosen for this duty, and he says, sure, I'll help widows, I'll do that. God continues to use him as he continues to yield to God. He's doing these miracles, these great things, and he's killed for it. And so the context of this, I think it's, number one is this: Stephen did everything right, and he was still hated. So I think that there's a big desire for many of us, myself included, to kind of be the cool Christian. And I don't mean that as like some angry old pastor dude, like, you're trying to be a cool... No, I just mean like we want to be able to interface with the world, right? Not on a negative sense, but we want to be able to talk to them. We want to be able to witness to them. And none of us want to be hated, right? None of us want to go to work and be like, there's that pile of junk. I know you. You loved you. And then we can sometimes we do something wrong and that's why we're hated. But in this case, he did everything right that we know of. He was exuding the fruit of the Spirit, love and joy and peace. He was helping widows make sure that they got food. That was his job at the church. He was, doing miracles, healing people, all these type of things, right? And they hated him for it. He had the witness of God. His face looked like that of an angel, but they didn't back down from it. So number one, I guess to share this, even as a Spirit-filled Christian, someone who just wants to love people, someone who has no bigotry in their heart, no hatred in their heart, we're coming more and more at a time where people are going to hate us simply for the fact that you claim to be a Christian. And that could be for a number of reasons. It could be because they were treated poorly by Christians at some point. It could be because whatever. It could be because they just flat out hate God. There could be a lot of reasons why that is. So as a context point, number one, don't get discouraged or don't be surprised if you're just walking with Jesus and people hate you for it. Jesus warned us of that. It happened to Stephen, and it's going to happen to us. So Stephen, he's full of grace and he's full of power. And I don't want to revisit our entire sermon from last week, but how did that occur? He yielded to God. Right? That's how do we receive the Holy Spirit? We ask God to fill us with His Holy Spirit, and we yield to His Spirit when He speaks to us. For many of us, we can, I think, get stuck sometimes and wonder, why can't I move forward? And oftentimes, the Lord's speaking to our hearts saying, hey, I want to invite you to do this. And we're like, no. And sometimes we say no, not obstinance, like we're pounding our feet like a 2-year-old, although sometimes that happens. But a lot of times it's usually this, no, that didn't work before. Or no, that didn't feel good before. Or no, that was really hard before. Or whatever it might be. So oftentimes the Lord is drawing us forward, regardless of our feelings or what we think things will feel like. And He's drawing us forward to walk with Him and to walk in something He's called us to, but we reject it. And then we wonder, why am I not filled with God's Spirit? Why am I lacking the fruit of the Spirit? With the joy, the peace, and all these different things. When realistically, God is trying to walk with us through that and in that to be a blessing to us.